Hello and welcome to GG Weekend Watch, now kindly sponsored by BetMGM. So thank you so much for the new sponsorship. We're hugely excited about so many things that we're going to be bringing you in the next few weeks. And on this week's show, I'm of course joined by Dave Young and Andrew Mount, where we're looking ahead to Ascot, Newmarket and Redcar as well. Lots of action to get through. So let's kick straight on with it. And we begin at Newmarket with the 0 to 105 fillies handicap for the 3-year-olds and over 10 furlongs at 130, where the very unexposed Whispering Words makes her handicap debut. She heads the market at 7 to 4. But Andrew, would you like to kick us off here, please?
Nah, can't be bothered. Tricky opener this one. I did look at the stats, because you look at this race, there seems to be a lot of 3-year-old winners, but when you look at the expected number of winners against how many older horses have run, there's no sort of strong statistical correlation. So I wouldn't get too bogged down in the 3-year-old angle. I mean, you look at the race and the betting, 4 of the first 5 in the market are 3-year-olds, so that's probably why the winner will be aged 3. Whispering Woods could have the best of the draw. The stalls are far side. I know they moved them all over the shop at Newmarket. At the last meeting, they mixed centre, far side and stand side. So stall 1 against that far side rail could be handy. And could Ryan Moore riding for Charlie Appleby in Godolphin, which is a rare occurrence. I've not looked at the stats to see how often he has done, but it's certainly a positive booking. A winner in the July course, 2 runs back, only just chinned at Kempton last time out. I thought she had an obvious chance. I didn't have a strong opinion, but with the draw, the jockey booking and a recent form, I'll just go Whispering Words.
Whispering Words then at 11 to 4 for Andrew. Dave, did you have any stronger convictions about this opener?
I was trying to just dig holes in Whispering Words, to be honest with you. We've got 8 races to go through, but there's a couple of races we've got some decent price favourites in there, but there's loads of shorties in there. And this is one that I was a bit head scratchy with the horse to see why she's so short in the market, about 13 to 8 at the time of recording. Bumped into one on debut, like Sumo Sam. So when people look at the racing post bit, see that as the race of the run last year, see Sumo Sam and be like, oh, behind a good horse. But also was behind a now 66 rated horse, a 76 rated horse, and a 79 rated horse. The official rating that she's got now of 88 clearly comes from what she achieved this season. But I've got to mention it. She beat Doom in a novice stakes race. You remember Doom just got beat a 1 to 25 in a match race and then won the next time out, albeit a Class 5 maiden. And both those runs while that horse rated 82. So I'm not convinced that, I know it's like handicap on debut. I know there's lots of things that are eye-catching in there, but I don't know whether it's as plotty and as by design as it may come across. I wonder whether she's just not as good as they think she is, and now it's just a case of shoving this race and let's find out what we've got. So at the price that she is, I'm not so keen on her. I think breeding suggests that like the mile or mile 2 would be good, but she's obviously stepping up 2 furlongs in there as well. So if she takes more from her dad's side than her mum's, I don't think the trip will be a problem. For all that you're going to expect some improvement, I think she definitely does need to improve. And as I said, there's loads of short price favourites today, so she is not the best of all of those. Red Danielle, who's second favourite, was narrowly beaten by Sweet Memories. So another horse, when you look at the racing post part, you go, oh, that's a nice horse. Rated 105 now. She runs off of 90, which looks okay. The first run she ran against a horse that's now rated 91. So there's arguably a bit more substance to her official rating, but she doesn't look massively well in either. Gosden send 2 here. Morning Poem, that's got first time cheap pieces. Kieran Schumacher rides. Didn't really build on her earlier handicap win. I'd say line through that one, as in line through this race. Like I couldn't have Morning Poem on it with anyone's money. But Queen Regent's quite interesting. Oisin Murphy finished like a run of the last day that they did not want to do too much with her. So either she wasn't ready, she drifted from 2 to 1 to 4 to 1. She was quite a big drifter on the exchanges as well, and got boxed in a little bit in the last furlong. Oisin didn't ride her to finish as close as she could have done. She was a little outpaced as well. I think this drop back, that was over 1 mile 4, bumped into a horse that was like £21 higher than the market one off that day. But I think this drop back to 1 mile 2 is probably ideal. I think she's got a bit of a squeak. So probably just want to give a mention to Queen Regent. The slight problem with it all is, again, it's all price dependent in it. I wouldn't be confident in having like a serious bet in this, but Queen Regent would be the each way selection. Take a bit of a punt.
Okay, Queen Regent, then take a bit of a punt. John and Daly Gosden, one of a couple of runners in here then for that yard, but this one is ridden by Oisin Murphy. Now, I was really toying between Whispering Words and Morning Poem in here, so I was letting price dictate me more so than anything. And when I'm getting 10 to 1 about Morning Poem rather than the 11 to 4 about the favourite currently, I'd rather side with the bigger horse, bigger price horse then, considering I was struggling to split the pair of them in my mind. So Morning Poem gets the call, just the sole start this season. Yes, she was only 8th of 14, but it was a really good looking renewal, I thought, of the listed John Musker Filly Stakes at Yarmouth. A race, of course, that hot favourite Aasy disappointed again, but the winner is a really smart type anyway, Sapphire Steez. So on the back of a 13-month absence, I don't think Morning Poem was disgraced whatsoever in that. She remains £9 above her last winning mark, which came on her handicap debut, but she fairly dotted up in that. Backed it up in her subsequent handicap outing, second off of just a £1 lower mark than this. I still think this mark remains feasible for her to overcome. You should appreciate being back in a handicap, and she can come forwards for her reappearance. First time cheap pieces, which will hopefully help her as well, you would have thought. So differing opinions in our opener as we move on to Ascot for the listed Ruse Stakes. For the 3-year-olds and over 5 furlongs at 150. Pretty competitive contest for these sprinters here, Dave, led by Emirati Anna at the head of the market. But who wins it for you, please?
Yeah, we're definitely all over the shop in the first. That is like a pretty wide open race. And I don't think anyone would have any confidence in there. This is a race that potentially you could have a bit more confidence in, but I wouldn't be so confident about the more obvious one, right? So Emirati Anna is now back at 5 furlong after those 2 defeats in listed races on good ground. Does come out on figure still, although Ascot hasn't seen him running at his best. So there's a few negatives in there considering how short he is. And I wanted to look for an each way play anyway. We've got 9 in here, so even if it's a non-runner, we're going to get our first 3 places. And I found it quite easy to find the each way play in this race. Chipstead, sports first time cheap pieces here, does give some weight away. However, his penultimate run over course and distance on similar ground was his penultimate run over course of distance similar ground when he produced 106 as an RPR. I think he was 4th of 10. His run prior, he was 5th of 8 when Nymphadora took the race, but he's £3 better off this time round. The ground is better now. It's going to be good ground quicker. That race came on good and soft, which is going to suit him. The waffly bit there, right? It comes to that good ground or quicker for this horse, right? It is good all over. I think all the tracks are pretty much reporting good now, but it is dry forecast everywhere as far as I'm concerned. It's going to get a bit quicker. So Chipstead's got a career of 6 wins and off of 22 starts on the turf. 5 of those 6 wins came on good ground or quicker. And if we just look at the runs on good ground or quicker, his strike rate goes to 5 from 15. He's also rated 7 times on good to firm or quicker, and only once finished outside the places and won 3 times. So you put his strike rate to 3 from 7 when it's good to firm or quicker. So if it does really dry out, he's got a better chance. He's a full brother to Oxted, who would say exactly the same for his career. So the better ground would be better. The first time cheap piece to go either way, right? Weekend watch viewers will know that sometimes, often I'll see it as a negative. I don't really want horses wearing headgear. But considering I'm having to make a bit of a case for this one for a horse that's not necessarily been in the best form, cheap pieces can go either way, right? You trust the trainers to make the right decision. He did post an RPR of 111 back in May on good to firm, and that 106 I mentioned on his penultimate start. So that puts him fairly in the mix on a going day, right? Emirati Anna's had 108 and 112s, both over 6 furlongs though. Corker, the second favourite's got lots of 109s. And then Nymphadora, had to mention Nymphadora again, 107s and 111, but they were all with ease in the ground. So I think Chipstead's got a genuinely good chance. So Chipstead for me in the 150.
Okay, 16 to 1 then about Chipstead in those first time cheap pieces. Andrew, as Dave says, we've got Nymphadora in here as well as Rom Cocktail. Surely there's some sort of exactor in there for you.
Yeah, as soon as I saw Nymphadora entered, I thought, I've got to make a new cocktail here. It's Rum Cocktail's the obvious one, but yeah, Nymphadora, you've got to worry about the quicker ground this time around. They're calling it good to soft in places at the time of recording. I think the good to soft in places are on the round course, and given that it's going to be up to 24 degrees on Saturday, and there's no significant rain forecast between now and then, you can expect it's going to dry out. And although given how much water they've put on Ascot over the course of the year, I doubt it'll get good to firm, but maybe good to firm in places. One thing worth mentioning about the Rouse Stakes is even though it's a relatively small field, 9 runners, it's still been in similar field sizes previously. It's been a big advantage to be drawn high. You look at it last year, I think the first 2 home were, the winner was certainly drawn high, stall 10. We've had quite a few just perming the top 2 or 3 stalls. You would have got the forecast up. Now the stalls are stand side, So that could be significant. So that will be a worry for Chipstead coming out of stall one, and even Emiratiana. I mean, Emiratiana is fascinating in this grade at this trip. Because he's been plying his trade generally over 6 furlongs. But you look at the last 4 times he's had a trip shy of 6 furlongs. He was second in the Breeders' Cup sprint, turf sprint at Keeneland. Before that, placed in Nunthorpe. Again, ran well in another Breeders' Cup, finishing 4th, and placed in another Nunthorpe. So, probably unexposed at this trip in a way, despite being a 7-year-old. But still 2 in the price of I think 15 to 8 with our sponsor BetMGM would put me off. Designer, I'm thinking she's probably better when running against her own sex. She won twice in open company in her early parts of her career. Those were class 4 contests. When she's gone class 3 or higher, she's taken on the boys 6 times and locked all 6 times, often at shortish prices. So I was going to throw a funny one into the mix. Stall 7 of 9, Glamorous Breeze for Chris Mason. Now, Glamorous Breeze's Damn, Go Glamorous, was a half sister to the winner of this race in 2017, 33 to 1 shot, Just Glamorous, who ran in these colours, trained by Ron Harris. Now, she's up in grade, but she arrives here in great form. And I thought it's not impossible, even though she's stepping up from, sort of class 4, class 3 handicaps. She is on the up. She clearly goes well at this time of year, and she could actually outrun her odds here. So I thought I'd take a chance, small each way, Glamorous Breeze, in the hope that she can give her family another win in this race.
Oh, the nice family connection then. 33 to 1 about Glamorous Breeze from Stall 7 for that 5-year-old mare for Andrew. Good ways to play the race. Now we're back to Newmarket. It's sales race time in the form of the £150,000 Tattersalls October Auction Stakes for the 2-year-olds over 6 furlongs at 205. Loads of runners in here. Loads of informed 2-year-olds. Heading the way is hat-trick seeker Zoulu Chief. So Andrew, can he get another win here, or where were you looking?
Yeah, I think the key here is how far is he going to win by? I mean, you look at that race, that York Nursery. He broke the clock. He won by over 4 lengths. It's incredibly impressive. 11. If you take the horses who've run since, next time out, they're 6 from 11. Profit of £16.46 to a £1 level stake. Zoulu Chief was due to run at Doncaster, didn't because of the soft ground. I mean, he's an absolute star. I mean, he's drawn 14 of the 20 odd down the middle of the track, but you assume the plan is just going to be blast and go. And I think, you look at Racing Post ratings and speed figures, he's going to be clear of this lot, I thought. And I think if you're going to back him, you probably want to be looking to back him to win by 2 lengths or more or something like that.
Okay, so play the distances rather than just the even money straight win. Play the distances for Zoulu Chief. Very confident is Andrew about this one, Dave. Where were you looking?
Yeah, I mean, it's impossible to say that Zoulu Chief isn't the most likely winner of the race. But again, it's an even money favourite. And as much as those value is in the eye of the beholder, I think there's some better ones in and around that price this weekend. And as much as this horse is clear on ratings, being a snob, it is like an auction stakes race. We're not talking about like a substantial Group 1 or Grade 1 race where that the form really does stack up. So Zoulu Chief definitely deserves to be favourite. Clearly the one to be siding with if you're wanting to place towards the front of the market. Would Hay Wonder, the second favourite, who's getting £5 from Zoulu Chief. But is £10 lower in the ratings. Those two are fairly close to each other, and both of those like it when the ground is quick. I think they're opposite sort of sides of the track as well, slightly different. Would Hay Wonder's a horse that comes from out the back normally, whereas Zoulu Chief, as Andrew touched on, is blast out, make all type scenario. So I wonder if Zoulu Chief does get hassled a little bit up front, whether that's going to play into the strengths of horses a little bit further back. But then Would Hay Wonder's a 9-2 second favourite. You back him muggy each way. You'd be better just to back the favourite. So let's swerve that one. I went reaching a little bit because of the type of race that this is, but I'm pretty sure I thought I could find something at a price that's worth making a case for. I think I can. Commander Crouch, 33 to 1, right? It is a 22 runner race. And just to go back to the fact that it's a stakes race, it's not a handicap, but all the bookmakers will be playing 4 places. I think they are at the time of recording bar 1, but standard terms are 1, 2, 3. So your placements, all that sort of stuff. So it is a big field handicap. Oh, sorry, it's a big field, but it's not a handicap. I think Commander Crouch has got a good chance, right? So the case that I can make for him, going back to Would Hay Wonder, that I've saying has got a reasonable chance for a second favourite. He won back here in August on ground described as good to firm, but it was wet that day. If you go back and watch the replay of it, the camera's covered in like wet raindrops, and you can tell that the ground, I don't know, it wouldn't have been worse. I don't know if it would have got into there, but it was a wet
think the
day.
cameraman spilt his drink.
That's probably what it was.
He'd shaken up his Sprite and he opened it, and then it sprayed on the camera.
Well, I think as well the cameraman probably backed Commander Crouch, because as they came out the stalls, he was in trap 3. Trap 2 cut right across Commander Crouch, right? And this was, I think it was over 6 furlongs, maybe. It was a shortish trip, but he got taken like a few lengths back in quite a big field race. And Commander Crouch from ever then was always on the back foot, but he was 100 to 1 this day. Stayed on to be pretty much a never near a 5th in the conditions. Was giving £5 away to Woodhay Wonders. Only got to give away 3 this time, I think. But it was a really good run from Commander Crouch. And I don't think there's much between those 2 horses personally, but the market's obviously saying 1 to 33 to 1 poke. After this race as well, Commander Crouch, the trainer stepped him up for 7 furlongs, came second the next time out. Then he won the time after that, and then was 4th or 5th the last day. But I think this horse is a 6 furlong horse. I think them dropping him back. Maybe it's not 100% by design, but Shane Kelly was under that day. Was on top that day. Shane Kelly's back on top again here. So I think Commander Crouch is very, very interesting. He's also drawn, I mean, he's drawn quite high, but drawn the same side as where Zoulu Chief's going to be, right? So if you've got an even money favourite there, which is the one to aim at, like we saw with like Ernesto in the Arc, runs behind Aasy back the favourite and just thinks, if I follow this horse, then this is going to be the best one in the race. So I think Commander Crouch at 33s is definitely worth a swing.
And we should also say that Anessa did run a mighty race for you as well for last week's show too. So that was a good, nice little link by you, David, completely. Commander Crouch, though, 33 to 1. And as you say, that our new sponsors, BetMGM, are also paying the first 4 each way in this race. So not a bad way to play it at all. Right, Cumberland Lodge time now. Every time I see this race, I just want to call it a sausage race. But that might denote plenty of other connotations then for this race. So
I'm sure the fonts have been made up with that.
I'm sure that's exactly what they wanted from this. But we do have a horse that's been a bit of a sausage in his time. Aasy, though, who's currently heading the way as a favourite, but now that he is a gelded 6-year-old, he seems to have straightened that out a little bit more. So 225 Ascot, Group 3 Cumberland Lodge over a mile 4, Dave. Who wins this?
I mean, you've thrown me now. It just makes me feel like we should get a petition to get it moved to Bangor as well, just to get it fully in there.
Very good.
But this is an easy one. Viewers out there will be happy to know that the waffling will be quite short on this one. Aasy should take this. Gets £2 from Ishra. Course and distance winner. Last 3 runs have all been RPRs in excess of 110. Touching on that, though, Ishra's RPRs are in and around the same. Obviously, he gets a couple, but course and distance winner Aasy, I think he's well-deserved favourite. The only slight worry with him is when he won at Haydock, it was really, really impressive win, only won by a short margin. But it kills me. My heart goes in my mouth when you're backing Aasy at shortish prices and he's having to be weighted with. The time that he ran at Haydock, he was available a bit bigger, but he's about 13 to 8 at the moment, right? So I think his price will probably contract a little bit, but it's not my style to go wading on a horse like this that tactically is going to be weighted with. So he's a short enough price. I think he's a fair price. I think he'll win the race, but I won't be going steaming in. But yeah, Aasy in the sausage race.
Aasy to win the sausage race. I am sorry, Andrew, to interrupt, because I'm happy to back him at that price, to be honest with you. I think that not to give anything away for the end of a show, but I think we're talking kind of nap material here, really. As I say, I think this is a fair price, but you know, it's kind of a little voice in the back of my mind. I think we've all got it about this horse, where we've just got that bit of doubt ever so slightly still about him, given his former quirks and the times that we remember him disappointing us as well. But he has just come to life this season in his latest 3 starts. So I'm happy to see that he's now putting those runs together properly as well, winning at Newbury despite lots of market weakness in that listed race, then backing it up at Haydock and up in grade into a Group 3. And he was more value for the winning margin than it even suggested there. And again, he ran a solid race at Leopardstown last time out, not able to run down Adelaide River, who made all in that Group 3. And he still made up a lot of ground. He was carrying a £3 penalty as well to be beaten just half a length. So that was again just really likable. I think I can trust him now. Especially with his ability against these in this Group 3. So I think I'm just backing him to run his race, really. So Aasy, I'm happy to back him at that price. Andrew, are you along the Aasy bandwagon, or where were you thinking?
Well, I'm worried he'll meet trouble in running and become a sausage sandwich. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of interesting ones in here. Royal Ascot winner from last year, Claymore, who usually goes well fresh, but disappointed on his comeback. Perhaps there was an issue that day, 135-day break subsequently would suggest there was. The Fortino, the Gosden second string, was well backed ahead of that run against Bay Bridge at Kempton. I say well backed, sort of certainly I think sort of like 20s into 10 or something like that. This is the ex-Chilean horse. And there were some quite positive vibes coming out of Newmarket about his chance. He bombed out, finished last, but he rocks up again relatively quickly in first-time cheek pieces. And of course, Al Quirine, this is the one that I mentioned, remember, at
Very well done for that one, by the way.
Saying that, you know, he's obviously been geared up for an autumn campaign because of the ground, and he saw off Blue Stocking by a neck in that Chester race. And of course, last year he ran twice at Longchamp, winning at the Arc meeting and then finishing fifth in the Royal Opera later on in the month. So I'm quite surprised that he hasn't gone to France, that he's come here instead. Now, the drying ground is obviously a concern because he's certainly, although he's got form on good to firm, certainly seems happier with a bit of cut in the ground. And then you keep going, you try and pick holes in Aasy. It's hard to really on his last few runs, isn't it? I mean, I was really impressed with that second place at Leopardstown because Irish Champions meeting day at Leopardstown, you had to be on the front end, otherwise you didn't have a prayer pretty much. I think the big field handicap, the last race, was won by a horse who came from off the pace. But that was probably winning against the bias, and we saw it in the Irish Champion Stakes itself if you weren't on the front end. And what was so annoying about that meeting was it blindingly obvious to everybody after, like, you know, 2 or 3 races. It was blindingly obvious to the Irish jockeys, but you know, the Kevin Stotts, the Hollydores and the Jims and Crowleys of the world weren't quite as clued up. And you know, to go down by half a length to the always prominent Adelaide River was a good effort, I thought. So yeah, I'll go Aasy here, but just interested to see what Al Quirine can do as well.
I know you did zip up Al Quirine last time out as well against Blue Stocking, and that managed to come good. So very well done to you on that one. But yeah, interested in Al Quirine.
For compliments, but thank you. I'll take them.
Oh, you are more than welcome. Talking of sausage sandwiches, what condiments do you have on them, or do you have any at all? Andrew, what do you have on your sausage sandwich?
Oh, if we're playing the sausage sandwich game,
which we are,
and it's red or brown, then sauce. I'll go for red sauce on mine. Although at the moment, I think I'd go no sauce, which controversial, I know.
Just a dry bread.
Yeah. Well, if you've got butter as well, and the sausages have got a greasy tinge to them. Yeah, if you fried them as opposed to grilled them, then you know, there's enough juice there to keep me happy.
Dave, what do you go for?
I just wonder what I've got myself into. What has this show become? We've managed to get Andrew to confess that he takes his sausage bareback. I have it as red sauce. Has to be ketchup.
Oh God. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for that absolute hospital pass back to me as I try and recover myself. I'm going to agree with Andrew, though, for what it's worth. No condiments, not the condiments I don't like at all. Just butter, plain bareback sausage sandwich. Boom. Happy days. Right, Redcar. Welcome to our new sponsors, by the way, BetMGM. I'm sure they're delighted that they've joined us for this show.
It's high stuff, guys.
Feel very welcome to the party. Right, we take a trip to Redcar now.
We're looking for a new sponsor for next week. So if there's any sausage manufacturers out there that want to get involved,
to be fair, we'd happily take that. Right, we must go to Redcar now for the listed 2-year-old trophy for, funnily enough, 2-year-olds over 6 furlongs at 245. Dragon Leader is your strong favourite at 4-6. Andrew, what is the play in this one, please?
Yeah, first thing to notice is it's a very small field for the 2-year-old trophy. I didn't put a list of Twitter like the last 20-odd runnings, and it's generally sort of 20-odd runners, and you get that conundrum about, we know where you want to be drawn at Redcar. You want to be drawn low on the far side of the tyre tracks of the cars that follow the action and compress the ground, but then the stand side hardly been raced on all season, so maybe it'd be quick. We don't have to worry now, do we? Because we've got 11 runners. I mean, Dragon Leader, the obvious favourite, hasn't come out particularly well on the draw. from stall 10, but I think he's just going to outclass them anyway. I mean, he won his first three. The third of those wins an impressive victory at York in a sales race by over 4 lengths, and then next time out he's gone to Donny for the Weatherby's sales race, won by Room Service from stall 1. And he's raced down the centre of the track. He wanted to be far side ideally, and he's won his group. So he's effectively 4 from 4. If it wasn't for a shonky draw, maybe you'd still got beaten had he been drawn very low like the winner was that day. But it was still a great effort. That was his first time on soft ground as well, and his breeding suggested it wouldn't have been ideal. I know he's gone off 7 to 4 in the end, but there was a bit of weakness. I think when the ground did ease from his anti-post price. I think he's going to take all the beating here. I did look at those drawn low, trying to make a case for some of the big price ones, but it wasn't easy. He'll probably get chased home by the stall 1 runner, Flacianello, the Forhy runner, who's probably second favourite or thereabouts, 13 to 2, or third favourite. So that's the one I think for your snide each way multiples on Saturday, if there's any other similar races. But I think it's Dragon Leader to lose.
In terms of the win bet, then Dragon Leader's race to lose as the 4 to 6 favourite at the head of the market. Dave, what were your opinions?
Yeah, so I was touched on it right at the beginning. There's loads of shorties, and I know we're all going to get excited about different, well, not necessarily different ones, but we're all going to get excited at some point. We've all got our different ways to go. But Dragon Leaders, I cannot possibly see how this horse gets beat. 4 to 6 for me still looks like a fairly juicy price. He posted an RPR of 100 just 2 starts back. The only horse to have equalled or bettered that was Killian. He posted 101, but that was back in July at Sandown. And Dragon Leader gets £13 from that rival and weight from pretty much the entire field. Goes on all ground, although the nicer ground will see him to his absolute best effect. The each way one that Andrew's mentioned, he pronounces it better than I do, is on an upward curve. So that is exactly the right advice to say in there. But I would say that Dragon Leader at 4 to 6 probably isn't a bad price. So Dragon Leader will just win, but if you're not that way inclined, then Andrew's told us the right each way bet.
Yeah, so in agreement there about the each way and the most likely winner as well at Redcar. As we move back to Ascot now for the Group 3 Bengoff Stakes for the 3-year-olds and over 6 furlongs. As I say, at 3 o'clock, a pretty open event. Comanche Falls heads away. I mean, he's just had a great season, hasn't he? But Dave, what's the play for you in here?
Yeah, it's a nice race to get stuck in to try and pick apart, but I do feel like it's you pick it apart and then you break it up again, and then you pick it apart and then you break it up again. It's just I don't know how I get to the same answer every single time. He's the deserved favourite, right? He's got solid form on this ground over this trip and in the class, but has got to give away weight to all but 2 in here. Third in the race last year, he's posted RPRs in excess of 110 in all but 1 run this season following his season reappearance, so clearly deserved to be where he is. Anaf gets £3, and I think his third to Bradstone at Royal Ascot is as good a form as any this season. Highfield Princess was within 3/4 of a length of that runner. He has been kept busy since, posting RPRs in excess of 100 every single run, so I like talking about the RPRs, don't I? Including 116 last time out as well. So that form, although if you go back to Royal Ascot meeting for it, he's in just as good a form now. Deserving a position in the market. This would be his biggest achievement to date, though, if able to actually land this. So as much as I talk about him being fairly solid and about the right sort of price, he gets £3 from Comanche Falls, but I think he would need those £3. So I can't really split too much between those, apart from the betting that's in there. Juan Lepins, I just wanted to mention him because it's a lovely name. Like Barishnikov, I'm just going to mention him every other week as well. Ran well last time behind Comanche Falls, to be fair. He's £3 worse off, but I think he's probably a reasonable price. So given a mention for the favourite, the second favourite, and then Juan Lepins, there's a case to make, right, for Comanche Falls and Anaf. I think Comanche Falls is about 3 to 1 the price of recording. Anaf's about 4 to 1. It is a fifth of the odds for only first 3. It's really hard to pin me down for a selection, so I'll probably have to swerve on this one. There's like a semi-case I was starting to think that you could back either of those 2 each way, because I don't see Comanche Falls and Anaf out the frame. So then that makes me lackluster to think that Juan Lepins is going to fill the frame in third place. There's only one more spot up for grabs. So I think one of those 3 will win it, but I'm not really helping anyone there, so I'm not going to throw in a selection.
There's your potential tricast, though, all the same between those 3. But Comanche Falls and Anaf. And Dave was struggling to split the pair of those 2, Andrew. So how were you seeing this race?
Yeah, Comanche Falls ran a huge race in this contest 12 months ago, finishing third when racing close to the front end when you had to beat from off the pace. The winner, Rohan, runner-up, Summerhand, fourth, fifth, and the sixth all came from midfield or further back. The next prominent racer was Aasy, who was seventh, beating 4.5 lengths. Godolphin's front runner, who then won his next two in Maidan, including a Group 2 contest. Comanche Falls arrives here in fantastic form. You know, his yard also has won this with Dakota Gold in 2020. And so the only slight negative is, again, a smallish field, 10 runners, but he's in stall 1. And you know, the draw probably didn't help him when he was beaten by Moss Tucker in that race with Go Atletico in second at the Curragh when sorry, it was the pace bike that beat him that day. So yeah, it's just a case of, you know, if they sort of go steady on the rail and he's out wide and under a hold-up ride, yeah, that could be a slight concern. Dark Trooper is the obvious one as well. He's very progressive. Nice draw in stall 9, but I'll go for Comanche Falls. I tipped in a Racing Football Outlook on Monday, and yeah, that run in this race last year is a big pointer to his chance.
Comanche Falls then, as we move on to the feature race of the day, the Group 1 Sun Chariot for the 3-year-olds and over a mile at 3:15 at Newmarket. Inspiral is the even money favourite after bouncing back to form last time out. But Andrew, are we trusting her at that price to do the same again here?
No, there's not. Don't be silly. Don't be daft. Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? She's super talented, but we know that she can miss the break by a long way and leave herself with a mountain to climb. And you know, will that happen again, or will she do what she did? You know, this race, this course a couple of years ago when she beat Prosperous Voyages at Ozon. But yeah, you kind of she's prone to running too many stinkers for me to want to back her. You know, this sort of price. On a track that is very hard to come from off the pace sometimes. So I've not looked at the full sort of pace map of the race, and I don't know whether there's going to be a headwind or a tailwind. But yeah, you just see a price like that about Inspiral, and you suddenly get the cold sweats and think, I don't want to be getting involved in any of that nonsense. Thanks very much. Leave me out.
Leave you out then. Even money about Inspiral. Yeah, I think, Dave, she's going to completely divide opinion 50-50. Well, her price according to that as well then. Whether or not you think that that's a fair price, that she's just got the most ability in this, and if she runs the race then she'll be winning, or whether or not you are willing to trust her at that price. Which side did you fall on?
$1 million question, I suppose, isn't it? The thing is, this is where bookmakers have a job to do, and in this instance they're making it very hard for people to want to back her at the price that she is. So they might be doing themselves a favour by keeping punters away. She's really the price that she is because we've got the French runner in there that's holding up a bit of the market in behind. But she probably, given there's a 4-to-1 second favourite and then it's 7-to-1 after, you could argue she should be a little bit bigger, but she's not. It seems like she might even go a bit shorter in the betting. So yeah, she wouldn't be one that I'd be wanting to bet. We've talked again millions of times about some shorties this weekend. When you've got an even money poke earlier on, and then you've got an even money poke like this, or she might go off the 4-to-6 like a Dragon Leader. They can all be the same price, but they might not all have the same sort of chances. She is a bit in and out as well, isn't she? But this season, she's won like one race from her 3. If you look at the price she was, I think she was 11-4, 5-1, and then 79-10 when she was in France, something like that. She's performed as expected, essentially. So she's won as many as you would have thought as the market, the price in there. Andrew did touch on, like, her peak effort was over course and distances in her 2-year-old career, so does obviously like it here. So there's all those factors that make you think, I can see why people think she's a good thing, but yeah, I don't want to go anywhere near her. One I do want to go near, though, is Meditate. I think she's 100% going to win something of, like, substance this season. Best form comes on quicker ground, which is like the favourite, but we know it's going to be relatively quick there. Has been running in good company all season. I do wonder whether she just wants like 7.25 furlongs or 7.5. Like, she might just not have a trip to really show her best at, or it could just be that she lacks that tiny little bit of class. But she wore blinkers the last day. I thought she ran really, really well behind Zahira. Gets £3 from in here from all but one in the race. Ran well around this time last year as well. Do think the quicker ground's going to help? Obviously, Ryan Moore's on board. Aidan O'Brien's, I don't think, is just sending her over for the sake of it. So at the price that she is, I think she's about 7-1 at the time of recording. You will get your 3 places up for grabs if the 8 runners stick. But again, bookmakers might still offer that if they don't. I think Meditate is probably one of the best each way bets of the day, because she's definitely in the first 3. And if Inspiral decides to not put it all together or mess out the stalls, then Meditate probably could win this too. I don't like the French horse at all. So Meditate for me in the Sun Chariot Stakes.
Meditate, who doesn't have to see Tahira's backside, which you'll be so grateful for one of the very few times this season she's not going to have to run into that one in the Group 1 Sun Chariot. Now, our final scheduled race is the Challenge Cup, a heritage handicap for 3-year-olds and over 7 furlongs at 3:35 at Ascot. 6-1 joint favourite at the head of the market. Proper betting heat this, Dave. Where did your pin land?
This was the race that I didn't really get enough time to look at. I spent a good half an hour on it as well, and I genuinely cannot make a strong enough case for anything. So I'm going to have to sit this one out, I'm afraid. Sorry, viewers, if you're still sticking around. But Andrew, this means you've got a longer train of thought, so you can give us a little line on every single runner, possibly.
Yeah, of course. How long you got? So, yeah, I mean, the first thing to talk about, obviously, is the draw. Stalls are stand side, 18 runners, so we're going to stretch quite a way across the track. But Quinault, the likely pace angler, is drawn in stall 1. Wonderful horse that he is. If the earlier races suggest there is a stand side bias, then he could be a bit exposed down no man's land down the middle of the track. And he beat Popmaster by a neck over course and distance last time, making all. Popmaster raced in 2nd place throughout, and Hickory's 3rd was always prominent as well. I mean, most people were all over the 4th, Star of Orion, who did best of those to come from midfield or further back when he ran the other day at Newmarket, but he was pretty disappointing, finishing just 4th. Now there's going to be more pace pressure as well, I think, without having done the sort of pace map in detail, but just looking through some of the regulars there, like your Lethal Levi's and 1 or 2 others. Quinault might not get his own way. So, I mean, my angle into the race really, I'm not going to back Fresh each way, because people keep backing Fresh each way in these big field handicaps, and he keeps getting beat or finishing just outside the places, or he was unlucky again. You're like, yeah, well, how long are you going to, how many more chances are you going to give him at what is generally a skinny price for a competitive race of this nature? So, I mean, Baradar as well, and his Royal Ascot exploits, has got a good chance. We didn't, so not Royal Ascot, his international stakes win over course and distance. He's followed up at Doncaster on much softer going. He won't have a problem with conditions. He's solid enough, I suppose, from stall 15. But again, it's not one that I really want to get involved in until I've sort of done the pace map in detail, seen what the wind's doing, and whether there is any strong bias towards the stand side in those earlier races. Bless him, will be popular each way as well. He wasn't that far behind Quinault last time when the race wasn't run to suit. He's coming out of stall 3, so he'll get a toe into the race under Hayley Turner. And Ropey Guest, so GG listener, viewer, Stephen Lynn had a good theory about this one before that win at York, saying he's got a bit of an OXO pattern to his name this season. It's sort of good run followed by bad run, good run, etc. And he was finished 17th, then came 2nd at Newmarket in the Bunbury Cup. Then next time finished 15th, then bounced back to win at 40-1 at York. And last time he came here to Ascot, ran 11th behind Quinault. So is it possible that he'll bounce back if that OXO theory is right about Ropey Guest? So yeah, I'm largely clueless, but then you knew that. So yeah, watch my column, because there might be a bet in there, but at the moment I'm very much like Dave, haven't got a flipping clue.
To be fair, if anyone said they've got an absolute definite clue about this race, I'd say they're lying at this stage. But yeah, it's interesting, as you say, Andrew, with the stalls towards the stand side, exactly what bias, if there is going to be any, that we're going to be expecting here when you've got the pace angle of Quinault, the wonderful Quinault in stall 1. For what it's worth, I thought that Biggles might just be the horse that represents that bit of value. Proper 7 furlong specialist. I can forgive his recent outings. Yes, he's on a career high mark, but as judged on his Newmarket win in his Ascot 2nd from earlier on in the season, I still think this mark of 105 looks pretty feasible for him. And last time out, I just think that that race came far too soon for him at Newbury in listed company on just a 6-day turnaround. So hopefully the 15 days might just have freshened him up. I think the ground might be a bit quick for him, but I'm taking a bit of a chance then at a fair enough price. Right, Andrew, anything from anywhere else, please?
Yeah, just the last race at Ascot, the 5 furlong handicap at 4:45. Call Me Ginger, who was a course and distance winner 3 runs back on good to firm ground. When I thought he did really well to come from off the pace, because the 2nd, the 3rd, and 4th were on the front end throughout. I thought he'd run a big race into Portland, but it was a funny old race. 1, the ground went against him; it was too soft, and 2. He was drawn very low when there was a strip down the middle where the action unfolded. You look at that, the first 3 were drawn 12, 13, 8. If you were very high or very low, you didn't have much of a chance in that. He's then gone to Air in the Silver Cup behind Dave's confident selection, Wob Wob Wob. Well done, Dave. And ran down the field, but again, it was too soft for him. So although he's got soft ground form in his form figures, it tends to be a while ago in a lower grade. So back on a fast surface, back on a track he likes, where his patient style is so effective. Hopefully a strong pace. Call Me Ginger, I think, can bounce back for Jim Golding.
And Jim Golding's had just a wonderful season, hasn't he? And Call Me Ginger, likewise, even as a 7-year-old. Right, Dave, to you, please, for your nap of the weekend.
Okay, I'm going to get this one over and done with quite quickly. Like the race itself, the 150, the 5 furlong, Chipstead is the nap. Chipstead will win. I mean, it's a bit of an each-way nap, but he'll win anyway.
Okay, Chipstead, therefore, in the 150, as you say earlier on, then on the card. Andrew, your nap, please.
I'm going to go Zoulu Chief. Whoosh! Win by 2.5 lengths. On the bronze.
Zoulu Chief to dot up then, and to continue that winning sequence. And I'll go Aasy, surprise in the 225 at Ascot in the sausage race. Right, that is everything from us on this week's show. A big thanks to Dave and to Andrew for all of their hard work as per usual. Big thank you to our new sponsors, BetMGM. We'll be back at the same time next week to preview more weekend action.